Hello and welcome to the Media Center's Local Hero Awards series, in which we honor people from Atherton, East Palo Alto, Menlo Park, and Stanford for outstanding achievement or contributions to the community. We were particularly looking for the unsung heroes, for people that you would not otherwise have known or heard about. Three years ago, the city of Palo Alto had two problems. More specifically, their downtown businesses had two complaints: a lack of cleanliness and the homeless. The city now has one solution to both, and it's in the hands of Eileen Richardson. Eileen, thank you for coming and congratulations on your award.
Thank you very much.
What is the program and how did it get started?
Sure. Well, the name of the program is the Downtown Streets Team, and basically we help homeless or newly housed men and women get back on their feet and get jobs. Now, all the while they're getting training to find jobs, they clean the streets of downtown Palo Alto for food and shelter.
So you hire them to do this? Do they volunteer? How does that
They're
work?
volunteers, and we pay them basically in either gift cards to Safeway, for example, or to Whole Foods, or we save up the money throughout the month and pay a rent check directly for rent. So it's, and we do that, but they are volunteers, they're not employees. We're trying to get them employed, but by the businesses in town or somewhere in the county.
Now, there are a lot of programs that do similar things. What did you find particularly ingenious about this one that it attracted you in the first place?
Well, I started, actually, let me go back to the founding a little bit. So the program was founded by the Palo Alto Downtown Business and Professional Association in 2004. And they're the ones that did the survey to find out, the homelessness was an issue for business owners in town, as was the cleanliness of downtown. So they're really the brains behind the program with some ingenious business owners in town. The Garden Court Hotel, Barbara Gross, the Jungle Digital, Koopa Cafe, and then director of the Palo Alto Downtown Business Association, Susan Hemingway. So they got together and really came up with the idea. So they launched the program, and 5 weeks later I joined. And so they had the shell of the program, but I think they quickly realized they really needed somebody to do it full time, to really stay focused on these men and women. Really
what appealed to you about it?
I just thought the idea was brilliant.
Why?
Because it was, you walk by a homeless person, and I think most people think, get a job. And so this was saying, hey, get up, let's start with something easy. I'll give you a broom, sweep up your area, and you can actually get some food and shelter for it. So I love the idea that, this was get a job, but it was something very easy they could get their arms around initially. And so then, the big piece for us is rebuilding their confidence so they can have a real job.
So where's the link between their sweeping the street and the real job?
That's us as well. And the main part of that, as I just alluded to, really is the confidence, the rebuilding of confidence. So every single week we have something called the Success Team Meeting every Thursday. And that's where we give out certificates just for $5 for hamburgers. And that person comes up to the front of the room, and they're called the participant of the week, and you'll see, and I give them a big hug. We call it Hugs and Hamburgers. And you'll see 55-year-old men all of a sudden turn, all red and just think, wow, I can do this. I really can get to work on time, get along with my colleagues. And before you know it, they have their resume done, and they're in a mock interview, and they're off getting jobs. Almost 40 people have jobs so far in the program.
And you've been going how long?
Just 2.5 years.
Now tell me about your personal past, when you used to walk down the street and look at the homeless. How did that lead you to where you are now?
I grew up in New York, upstate a little bit. And so when I was a teenager, I would go to New York City. And, you sort of get left off in the Bowery there. And I would walk by homeless men and women. And if I think about it now, it's just always bothered me deeply in this country that, I never knew what it was like to go hungry. And yet, people are there hungry with just no hope. No way out. It's just such a terrible cycle. Every day you get up, you still don't have anywhere to live. You're still hunting for food, and it just the next day the same thing. So.
But you had never done anything like this before.
Oh no, I come from the business world.
Tell me about that.
I was in venture capital for 10 years, from '89 to '99, before it was cool. And then after venture, I decided that I wanted to basically, well, everybody was becoming a venture capitalist, and the real need for talent was on the CEO and executive management side. So I was CEO of a couple of high-tech companies, and then took some time off to be with my children. I've been a single mom for 20 years, and so I wanted to spend time with them before they left for college, and was walking past the food closet in town, actually, in Palo Alto one day, and stopped in and said, hey, can I help? And before I knew it, I was one of the managers, substitute manager, and got to know the people by sitting down with them at the desk when they come in to sign in to get food. And when I started hearing the stories, I just thought, there are little things that we can do to really change lives. It doesn't take a lot. These men and women make $100 a week, that's it. And they're willing to work very, very hard to make change. It's not the bum that you see on the side of the road. They really do want to change, and we've proven that.
So you started out in New York with this kind of urge,
Yeah.
subliminal urge maybe, to help the homeless. Then you went off into high tech.
Yes.
And
Well, I had to feed my kids.
Right. And somehow it was triggered when you were walking down the streets of Palo Alto.
Yeah.
And you kind of threw over the whole high-tech world. How did that transformation, how did you move from that into this,
Well,
to where you are now?
I think my biggest goal was to send my children to a college where they didn't have to work and they could enjoy the college life. That's not something I was able to do. And so, I worked very hard to have the money for a great education for both of them. And now they're off doing that. And so I guess I get to do what I want to do now, in a way. So I'm not saying I didn't enjoy my business career. I loved it very much. But I think a lot of the things I learned there really have helped me look at this problem, this homelessness problem in Palo Alto, from a different perspective than just a case manager. The downtown streets team wants to solve this issue at some core level. It's more teach a man to fish and not just, give them the food and the housing. We really expect something in return.
I was going to say, do you think, well, you obviously do think that you approach it differently because you're not from a nonprofit background.
Yeah.
What are some specific kinds of examples of things that you think you might bring to this that maybe somebody from the nonprofit world might not?
Well, I think that we're especially lucky in Palo Alto and in this county with all the amazing nonprofits that we have. It's just, they're incredible. Envision, Catholic Charities, Charities Housing, the list goes on, and what great people work in those nonprofits. And so I think there's a continuum of care that starts out at the food closet, for the real homeless that don't have any money to get food, and on up to the wonderful work that was done in this community with the Opportunity Center. And so now people have access to psychiatric care. The piece I think that was missing that I think that we solve is really the self-confidence building. And case managers take on people one at a time. And you can rah a person one at a time all you want. You can do it. But that's just one person talking to one person in need. Whereas what we do is we have a team, we have jackets and t-shirts, we have weekly meetings where they sit around a table and we have oral communications just like you do in a board meeting. We really treat it that way. And so people really come around, not only feel like they're part of a team, but start feeling like they can operate in a business environment and get a job again. So I think that's what's different, really, than a case manager just one-on-one saying, you can do it, let me do your resume.
So it's not only building their confidence, but also helping them to adjust to working as a team, I guess?
Yes, as a team and in a professional environment again.
So they're picking up those skills without really knowing it, maybe.
Yes, absolutely, that piece. And then it's kind of easy to join the team. It's not so easy to stay on it. We expect you to be on time, be punctual.
Tell me about that. What kind of attrition do you have? What kind of
Well, some people come and within 2 months are, working over at the Fisher House, and that gentleman in particular basically just bought a used BMW, but a nice one. So some of them fly right through the program. Others, end up basically not staying sober, so they can't stay on the team. They end up coming to work late. Some of them have an attitude problem. So often they'll get 3 strikes and we give them 2 weeks to think about it. We say, think about if this is really something you're serious about, because we're very serious about what our mission is. So come back. And often they come back in 2 weeks.
So you can fire them?
Oh yeah. we don't call it firing because they're volunteers. We ask them to take a couple weeks off to think about if they're really serious and it's the right time in their life to try something as serious as a downtown streets team. So what's interesting today is we have 18 people on the team, and we always have 5 to 10 people that are on the waiting list.
Oh, wow. So you have what? How many can you take at once then? 18?
18, we're bursting at the seams right now, and we're a little bit in debt even. So, we're always in this fundraising mode. But we, that $100 a week can change a person's life. And so we hope to get the message out there to everybody in town that it's not huge amounts of money.
Where does that $100 usually go, do you think?
It goes, I basically every week buy, $1,500 or $1,800 worth of Safeway cards.
No, I mean the $100 that they are given, but they only get it in kind?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
That's it.
So
they have to go to Safeway.
I see.
Or I pay the rent directly. So that's what we do.
What have been the biggest challenges for you, or surprises?
Surprises.
Challenges.
Okay. Well, first I think is that I thought I'd spend a lot of time talking people into coming to the program. In other words, that I would be out there and saying, please, join. The exact opposite has happened. We have 5 or 10 people come every single week, and we have never, ever done any outreach whatsoever. So I don't spend time, not that I don't spend a lot of time with Victor Frost in front of Whole Foods, because, I do. We talk a lot about things, and he teaches me a lot about the situation and how we can change it in our town. But I don't spend time doing that. Word has permeated throughout the community, the homeless community, if you will, just like any other community, that if you want to change your life around, this is the place to come. And so they know that how to get on the team. You come Thursdays at 1 o'clock at the Opportunity Center, and we see new faces every single week. There's only been 2 weeks in 2.5 years where no one new showed up.
Wow.
Yeah.
So who are the homeless in Palo Alto?
They are about 35% of the homeless have mental issues. This program isn't for everybody, so we're not going to solve the entire issue, obviously.
So they are not members of your program?
Some of them, if they have mild mental issues, are. Certainly, we try to work with whoever we can. Others have substance abuse issues, obviously, or of course, but you'd be surprised at how many.
So you don't work with that either?
We have zero tolerance on the job. So, but just like they do in New York, there's this program and this thought where if you take somebody off the streets directly and put them in housing, they will work very hard to maintain that housing and make decisions on their own. If you take someone and say, before you join this program, you have to quit doing drugs, quit doing this, quit doing that, you don't have a very high success rate. So what we do is say, zero tolerance on the job, and they do whatever they want on their own time. And then they make those decisions more often than not. They want to change their lives. And very often we get them housing too. So over 25 actually now have found housing through our program and our relationships.
So if you've got some mental illness and drug and alcohol abuse.
I think what people don't understand is that there's a lot of domestic violence. And what they don't understand also is just how many people in America are 1 or 2 paychecks away from being homeless themselves. So these, it could be a death in the family, it can be being depressed. Often the homeless are from this area, fully almost 67%, 70% of them actually grew up in this county. So I find it offensive when I hear or read people online saying, well, Palo Alto's so expensive, why don't they move somewhere else when this is their home? You can't really say homeless, like Norm Carroll, a homeless advocate, says, they're unhoused because this is their home. And I really do believe that.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions? I mean, if that's what the homeless, those are who the homeless are and how they got there, what do you think the misconceptions are? Where's the picture not fit the illusion?
I think that the biggest misconception is probably that when people say get a job, bum, or think about that when they walk past a panhandler, I think the biggest misconception is that if they were to offer them a job, probably 9 out of 10 times they would take it. or if they were to pay just, $5,000, $6,000 a year is all it takes to have a downtown streets team member, fully employed because of this $100 voucher that they make a week. That's it. And so if you could take $5,000 or $6,000 a year and change somebody's life, why spend $63,000 a year on jails, hospitals, and all of those kinds of things? So that's the message I hope to get out there, that it's a fact that if people know that you're truthful with them and that you really will help them, like we've proven in our program, that's our reputation, that people will come out of the woodwork to get help, and to work hard to get help. So that's the misconception.
Now, what about your own views? Have they changed over time? Now, because
Absolutely. I was afraid of homeless people. I mean, and it's an uncomfortable feeling to walk by as somebody that's panhandling. It used to really bother me. In fact, to be honest, when I first moved, or was thinking of even moving to California a decade ago, that was one of the things that really stuck out. Seeing a Jaguar drive by somebody homeless on the street, I thought, wow. I mean, in other communities, the difference, the dichotomy sort of isn't that grave as it is here in California. So we have so many really rich people and so many really people, that are down and out.
Well, so for people walking by the panhandlers on the street, what do you suggest?
Well, if they donate to our program or to some of the other great nonprofits that are in town, and we have relationships, we can give them information about how they could donate to some of those programs as well.
But that doesn't help you when you're still walking right by the homeless person.
No, you're right. I'm getting there. We will give you, and the Downtown Streets team will give you a pack of cards that you can keep in your wallet or your purse. And those cards will give you information about where the people can go for help.
And they don't know that already, or do they know that?
They know that. But you're making the point saying you can get help if you want it. Here's how you can go to the Downtown Streets team. Here's how you can get food. Food is abundant in Palo Alto. Nobody should be there looking for food, honestly.
I see. Housing is different.
Housing is different. Yeah.
We're almost out of time, but I'd like to hear just one success story or two.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd like to talk about a gentleman named Dave Shippen. He I think it was probably about 10 years ago, just really got fed up with society as a whole and felt like everybody was kind of out to get him and dropped out. Just said, you know what, rather than put up with all of this feeling like a hamster on a wheel all the time and just getting slapped down over and over again, I'm just going to go ahead and live outside. And he actually lived in a couple of mansions. He was a squatter, actually. And so he found out about the Downtown Streets team. And what I love about this story is it's a real partnership with the Opportunity Center, because he got housing through the Opportunity Center first. And then he realized, I have to pay my rent. I need a job, and came to the Downtown Streets team. So Dave today has won more hamburgers a week than any other participant ever. He's at 9 so far, and we just promoted him to a member of our elite task force. And what I love is as soon as he gets that hamburger certificate, the first thing he does is runs outside and gets on the phone and says, "Mom, I won again." And he's a 45-year-old man. He's changed completely.
So what about your numbers? How many people have been placed?
39 people have gotten jobs through our program in 2.5 years. That's more than one a month. And 25 people now have found housing through the program.
And the shop owners, are they happy with this program?
Absolutely. In fact, Phil Leonardo, who's one of the assistant team manager or leader, whatever they call it, at Whole Foods, has just told me that panhandling in front of Whole Foods is down by 75%. So that's pretty amazing. He sits on our board of directors. Yeah.
That's great. Now you have something you wanted to mention, a fundraiser coming up, an annual fundraiser.
Yes, we do. Actually, Palo Alto is lucky enough this year in February on the 16th and 17th to host the Amgen Bicycle Tour. 1.6 million people will be watching this tour of California. It's the largest sporting event in the country, and it's only 3 years old. So the Downtown Streets team is going to do its annual fundraiser February 16th. It's called a Row and Ride. So you can either ride your bike on a team of 8 or do an erg machine, a rowing machine on a team of 8 to raise money for the Downtown Streets team.
Okay, just finally, any last thoughts that you'd really like to leave people with? What's a message, if you have a message to give people?
I think I'd like people to really understand that it doesn't take a lot of money to make a huge change. Our annual budget's only $200,000. So you can change the lives of, 25 people a year on $200,000. And I just hope people would really think about trying to donate to the program. Right now, I spend all my time trying to raise money. And if we can get some really great people out there, we can really affect change. It's not just feeding people and having them go back to the shelter year after winter after year. It's really, really getting them up off their feet, finally.
Good. Well, on that note, we have a plaque for you.
Oh, wow.
To leave you with.
Wow, thank you.
And I hope you put this up someplace.
Oh,
prominent.
that's so nice. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I want to thank Cafe Baroni for having us here, and thank you for watching.